Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Today I am going to talk about Bank of India Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investment helps in judiciously allocating assets to achieve long-term capital appreciation. Bank sale of mutual fund products is supported by adequate number of AMFI and NISM qualified personnel placed strategically at various branches and through dedicated relationship managers. Mutual fund products are offered to all our customers as a corporate distributor for the following asset management company. Disclaimer: mutual funds investments are subjected to market risk. Read all of our document carefully before investing. Bank of India Flexi Cap Fund. Bank of India Flexi Cap Fund invests across large cap, mid cap, and small cap stocks with the objective to generate long-term capital appreciation by investing predominantly in equity and equity-related securities. Under normal market conditions, the fund will invest 65% to 100% of assets in a diversified portfolio constituting equity and equity-related instruments of large cap, mid cap, and small cap companies with sustainable business models and potential for capital appreciation. Bank of India Tax Advantage Fund aims to leverage on the mid-cap expertise that has been established by our equity team, provides investors with the additional benefit of tax savings under Section 80C of the Income Tax Act. Pure equity fund that is aimed to be fully invested in equities under normal market situation. The closed-ended nature of the fund will enable the fund manager to take a long-term view on his portfolio construct without having to worry about liquidity pressure. Bank of India Bluechip Fund. Bluechip Fund invests with an objective to generate long-term capital appreciations for investing predominantly in equity and equity-related instruments of large-cap companies. Under normal market conditions, the fund will invest 80% to 100% of its assets in large-cap companies with sustainable business models and potential for capital appreciation. Bank of India Large and Mid-Cap Equity Fund. An open-ended diversified equity fund investing predominantly in large and mid-cap stocks. Top-down approach for development of themes evaluates global and domestic economy and the policy environment to develop themes. Bottom-up approach for stock selection. Once themes are identified, valuation matrices and fund positioning would guide stock and sector selection. Well-diversified portfolio with greater risk control, disciplined investment style which endeavors to ensure profit booking at regular intervals. Bank of India Small Cap Fund. Bank of India Cap Fund invests predominantly in equity and equity-related securities of small cap companies. Under normal market conditions, the fund will invest 65% to 100% of assets in a diversified portfolio constituting equity and equity-related instruments of small cap companies with sustainable business models and potential for capital appreciation. The fund has the flexibility to invest up to 35% of its assets in equity and equity-related instruments of companies other than small cap companies. Bank of India Manufacturing and Infrastructure Bond Fund. Open-ended equity sectoral scheme investing solely in companies belonging to manufacturing and infrastructure related sectors. Suitable for the more experienced equity investor who wants to take specific exposure to these specific sectors. The fund would follow an actively managed approach, allowing it the flexibility to pursue opportunities across the entire market capitalization spectrum, from smaller companies to well-established large cap companies within the predefined sectors. Fundamental attributes and name of the fund have been changed from Bank of India Focused Infrastructure Fund to Bank of India Manufacturing and Infrastructure Fund with effect from January 19, 2016. Bank of India Overnight Fund, an open-ended debt scheme investing in overnight securities, a relatively low interest rate risk and a relatively low credit risk. High liquidity. Funds tends to provide highest liquidity within the fixed income mutual fund product segment with retention on T+1 basis. No lock-in period and no exit load. It offers overnight liquidity without any exit load. Lowest risk fund. This fund category has lowest market risk and lowest credit default risk. Stable returns. Fund is positioned to deliver consistent returns compared to other fixed income instruments. Bank of India Liquid Fund. Open-ended liquid scheme suitable for short-term deployment of funds. Bank of India Liquid Fund operates on the principles of safety, liquidity, and returns, where capital preservation is of utmost importance. It is an ideal investment revenue for very short-term parking of excess liquidity. Maintains a very low portfolio duration to meet any liquidity requirements, while endeavoring to preserve capital. Bank of India Ultra Short Duration Fund, an open-ended ultra short-term debt scheme investing in instruments with Macaulay duration of the portfolio between 3 months and 6 months, a relatively low interest rate risk and moderate credit risk. Bank of India Short Term Income Fund, an open-ended short-term debt scheme investing in instruments with Macaulay duration of the portfolio between 1 year and 3 years, a moderate interest rate risk and moderate credit risks. Bank of India Conservative Hybrid Fund, an open-ended conservative hybrid fund with a mandate to invest 75% to 90% in debt and money market instruments and 10 to 25% in equity and equity-related securities. The equity component offers investors the opportunity for higher returns as compared to traditional fixed income instruments. The fixed income component offers stability of portfolio as the major part of the portfolio is always invested in debt and money market instruments. An ideal investment revenue for the traditional fixed income investor who wants some exposure to equity. Bank of India Credit Risk Fund, an open-ended debt scheme predominantly investing in AA and below rated corporate bonds, excluding AA plus rated corporate bonds, a moderate interest rate risk and relatively high credit risk. Bank of India Balanced Advantage Fund, open-ended dynamic asset allocation fund investing in both equity and debt, suitable for medium-term deployment of funds, ideal for those who have an investment horizon of 2+ years. The fund follows a dynamic asset allocation between equity and fixed income based on equity market valuations. The fund can invest between 0 to 100% in equities and 0 to 100% in fixed income depending on market valuation, expectation and trend. Up to 10% of the portfolio can be invested in units of INVITs and REITs. Bank of India Arbitrage Fund, an open-ended scheme investing in arbitrage opportunities between cash and futures prices of exchange traded equities, suitable for investors with an investment horizon of 3 to 6 months, enjoys a similar risk return profile as liquid fund with tax advantage of an equity fund, opportunity for superior post-tax returns as compared to a liquid fund. All positions are completely hedged, no directional exposure to equity markets. Hence, arbitrage funds carry no market risk. Bank of India Mid and Small Cap Equity and Debt Fund, an open-ended scheme investing in arbitrage opportunities between cash and futures prices of exchange traded equities. It is for those customers who want good return with stability. For more information, for further details about Bank of India Mutual Fund, please contact our nearest branch or log on to bymf.in. or call us at toll-free number 1800 266 2676 and 1800 103 2263. Landline number 022 6124 9000. Email ID service@boimf.in and marketing.support@boimf.in. Source Bank of India website https bankofIndia.co.in/mutual funds. Thank you very much for your patience. Request for like, share and subscribe.